Hello, good morning, and welcome into my study. Usually, in these difficult and strange times, I would be out visiting you, knocking on your doors and saying, "Is it convenient to come in?" And you are all very gracious, and you usually say, "Yes, of course," and welcome me into your homes. So today I'm welcoming you into my home, here in my study where I do my work. Because I would like us to stay connected as best we can as Methodist people. It's strange for us all, I know, and I do not know how you are feeling. I do not know whether you are on your own or whether indeed you are with family. I do not know whether you are well or feeling unwell. I expect some of you are feeling anxious, maybe even fearful, and that's only natural. And there are times like these when we don't really know what to say and what to do. But I felt it was really important for me to virtually pastoral visit if I can't actually come in person. And I know that you would be kind and you would invite me in and you would share what's going on in your lives and indeed probably share some of your concerns. And then you would turn and you would say to me, "So what's going on in your life, Melanie? How are your family? How are they all coping?" So I thought I'd give you just a little bit of a lowdown of what really is happening this side of the Dale. So Becky, our daughter, some of you know that she came over at the beginning of March and she sang at the concert at Richmond alongside the Bath Male Voice Choir. Well, unfortunately, she couldn't get back to Saudi Arabia and back to her husband, so she's stuck here with her mum and dad for the foreseeable future. Naturally, that's difficult for her and difficult for her husband to come to terms with, and they haven't been married that long. You may remember that they were married at the end of November, and Rebecca didn't actually get out to Saudi to join her husband, Alex, until January. So to have come over at the beginning of March only to find that she can't go back, that's caused a little bit of, obviously, anxiety and upset and a few tears, to be honest. But she's getting used to being here with her good old mum and dad. Her husband, he is in the apartment and with the dog, working mainly from home, I think. And obviously they Skype one another and they're on all sorts of technical social media that her old mum doesn't really understand, and they are staying in contact best they can. So I'm grateful that she's here because she's helping me. So she said, "Mum, I can help you. I'll help you set up a YouTube channel," which I've done, and then I'll show you how to record and you can upload those to that channel and people can tune in if they wish. So that's what I'm attempting to do for the first time today. Hopefully I'll get better at it, so bear with me. But it's a way that maybe we can stay connected, and seeing a friendly face and a familiar face and hearing a familiar voice sometimes makes all the difference, doesn't it? So that's me. You will know that I've been away. It was a very strange time to go away. So when we went away on the Monday, the advice was to, if you had a cough and or a temperature, to self-isolate, keep washing your hands, stay away from people if you can. And so we went off to Northumberland, where it wasn't difficult to stay away from people. We went to Holy Island, and we had actually, a really lovely time considering the circumstances. On the way, we went via Durham Pet Crematorium because sadly, 3 weeks ago yesterday, our dearly loved dog Rolly had to be put to sleep. We've had him almost 14 years. He was such a big part of our family, and as you know, he went everywhere with us, including to church all the time, and had done since he was a puppy. Our Our son Toby had grew up with him, and so it was a really, really massive blow for the whole family when Rowley just gave up because of old age. He'd never been ill in his entire life. He'd been a fantastic dog, such good company, so well behaved, could take him anywhere, and he just literally collapsed. And the advice from the vet was that he'd come to the end of his life, and therefore the kindest thing was to have him put to sleep. So Paul and I did that together in the vets. It was very upsetting, but it was very peaceful, and we know we've done the right thing. So we went via the pet crematorium to pick up his ashes, because what I really wanted to do was to take his ashes to Holy Island, to his favourite beach on the island, and sprinkle them in the sea. And that's exactly what we did on the Tuesday. We drove over to Holy Island. We walked right out to the farthest point, to the farthest beach, the one that was always his favourite and our favourite. And there weren't any other people around, of course. And it was a lovely day, a bit fresh, but a lovely day. And so I took off my shoes and my socks and rolled up my jeans and went into the water. It was a bit painful to go into the water. It was very, very cold, and I had to have 2 or 3 attempts to stay in there, but eventually when my feet went numb enough, I was okay. And the wind was in the right direction. You do have to kind of be wary of these things. And actually it was quite special for us to just scatter his ashes onto the sea and know that the thing he loved doing most of all, which was swimming until he couldn't put one paw in front of the other, was the last thing we did, and it just made a difference to us. So that was part of our trip, really. Things changed obviously while we were away, almost daily, and that was very strange, and I did my best to keep in touch with the limited Wi-Fi that I had, and I was desperately trying to make sure that I was passing on all the information that I was receiving as your superintendent, and just letting everyone know what you should be doing and how things were going. And of course, I think we all knew really that eventually our churches would be asked to be closed, and that is a difficult thing, especially when it's always been a part of your life, and it's a routine, isn't it? And it's a connectedness, and it's a fellowship and worshipping with others who think like we do, and it feels strange when all that's gone. So the week away was mainly trying to stay in touch, and also having some time out, a bit of retreat, some time quiet, and as an introvert, which I am, I love to be quiet. So it was good, and we had 3 days on Holy Island, and then we went over to Ayrshire to see our son, and again things were changing rapidly, and therefore we tried to do our very best and listen to the advice, and to be honest, we used so much hand gel that it caused an allergic reaction, gave us itchy skin and itching eyes, and we hadn't realised, but I guess we're well anti-backed, and so we did spend some time with Toby. We kept away from people. We went over to the island of Arran on the ferry, and there weren't many people doing that, and we all kept well away from one another. But what a beautiful day we had, probably the best day I've seen in a long time. And the sky was blue, and the sea was blue, and the sun was shining, and Arran is so beautiful. And we walked all along the coast walk on our own, and it was a good time to be together. And the next day we walked the big, long, open beaches, and again did our best to keep away from people, and there weren't too many, which was good. And we spent some good time with Toby, not knowing, of course, when we were going to be able to see him again. And we came home on Sunday, and I came home, of course, to a new way of working, and a new way of trying to work out how to be your pastoral shepherd at this difficult and strange time. So this is the first in that, really, and I'm hoping to put on some kind of mini services or thoughts for the day, things that I feel will be helpful, hopefully. And if not, you don't have to watch, that's okay. But one thing I really reflected upon and God put in my heart on the way when we were driving back, and it was a really lovely drive, beautiful weather, was that it's just so much a reminder of God our Creator and making all things new. The thing that came into my head was God is making all things new. The fields were full of lambs, and they were just exploring their environment and leaping around as they do. All the flowers are budding, the daffodils are out, all the other flowers are springing into life, the buds are showing, and the countryside was beautiful. And it just made me think of that scripture in Revelation. And we don't read Revelation that often. It's not the kind of scripture that comes up too regularly. But it did make me think of those words. So I thought I'd read them to you today. So this is Revelation chapter 21. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the old heaven and the old earth had disappeared, and the sea was also gone. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven like a beautiful bride prepared for her husband. I heard a loud shout from the throne saying, "Look, the home of God is now among his people. He will live with them, and they will be his people. God himself will be with them. He will remove all of their sorrows, and there will be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain, for the old world and its evils are gone forever." And the one sitting on the throne said, "Look, I am making all things new." And then he said to me, "Write this down, for what I tell you is trustworthy and true." I have a sense that God is making all things new, even amongst the distress and the heartache, and yes, the death and pain. God is making all things new. So may you feel God's presence today. May you feel his strength, and may you feel connected to one another as we navigate our way through this strange land that we find ourselves in. God bless you.